Hi, and welcome to Getting Biblical, the show where I drink too much and talk about my favorite Bible stories. I am Matt Smith, your host, and thank you for joining us today. So today we're talking about the story of Balaam and his donkey. It's a fantastic story, pretty much kind of a one of a kind in the Bible. Super excited to go over it with you. Yeah, let's get in. Nothing else needs to be said at this point. So let's talk about booze real quick. I was out with a few friends a few weeks ago. We had gone see a movie early on in the day, and we decided that we didn't want the party to end just yet. So we went to the liquor store. I grabbed a cheap bottle that looked like a Jack Daniel's kind of knockoff with that whole, like the black label, the white lettering and everything. But it was cheap, and it was like a kind of like a featured, which whatever, it just means they had too much stock and they're trying to get rid of it probably. But it caught my eye, and so I grabbed it. And we went back to their house, and I drank like half the bottle. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I left it at their house, which I normally do. I have bottles of all over at friends' houses, so I can show up whenever I want and drink my own stuff at their house, and I like it. But so I really liked it. I was like, man, it was a great value bottle for the price. I really was in love with it. And I went back to a liquor store, a different one, and got what I thought was the same thing, but it wasn't. So after all that build up, I'm not drinking that bottle that I really liked. I'm drinking the second bottle that I bought that I thought was the first one. But it's fine. It's good. I'll talk about the other one in a future episode. I don't have it with me. It's at my friend's house, and I need to go grab it. But so today I'm drinking Ezra Brooks Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It is Kentucky Sour Mash. I had to look up this a little bit and understand why would you say sour mash on there and what the difference is. Huge fan. I mean, we're episode 6 in now, and I've had either Scotch or bourbon or whiskey, I think, every single episode. So you've probably figured out by now, that's what I like. That's what I go to. I love the whiskey family tree of all those, whether it's corn or grain or however you're making it. I like that. I like it more than vodka and stuff in general. So I like that. But the sour mash was something I wasn't quite sure what, why would you? Because it didn't taste sour. It doesn't, it doesn't. You drink it and it tastes like bourbon. It's not, it's like, why? What is this sour mash thing? So I had to go ahead and get myself educated. Well, this show is all about education and drinking. So I had to look into it, and apparently, so there's this whole thing, and I'm not getting into it today, but there's this whole whether it's whiskey or bourbon, and how you make it and how you store it in barrels, and what those barrels are they charred or this or that, and there's this whole in order to be able to call it bourbon, you have to go through checklist of things. Sour mash, what I didn't realize, so regular bourbon is, and if you are an expert, you're gonna be cringing probably at my oversimplification of all this, and that's fine. I deserve all your cringes. If I'm not saying that I'm lying, just oversimplification. But anyway, so regular bourbon, is they do their thing and it's all fine. But a sour mash is a recipe, I guess, that starts with mash left over from a previous batch, right? So they make one thing, and then they've got leftovers, and they make the second thing out of it. Reduce, reuse, recycle, right? This doesn't apply here, but I get it, and it's cool. And so it's the booze, it's the bourbon version of leftovers. We've all done that. You go to a restaurant, or cold pizza in the next morning, pizza for breakfast. This sour mash is the whiskey version or bourbon version of cold pizza, I think. Again, oversimplifying, but it's pretty good. It's not. I can't wait to get that other bottle because I really liked it. This one I don't like as much, but it's actually very fine. It's good. I'm about 80% through the bottle, so that's a passing grade in my book. So Ezra Brooks Kentucky Sour Mash Bourbon, which is also, I read, weird, I guess, because I think a lot of the sour mashes are from Tennessee. So to be a Kentucky, you can only put Kentucky on your bottle if you are from Kentucky. Anyway, so I'm drinking cold pizza, bourbon, sour mash. No, Ezra Brooks, it's good. It's good stuff. Let's get into Balaam and the donkey. At this point, Balaam and the donkey, this is in Numbers 22. We catch up with with the Israelites. This is, so this is after the whole chosen people thing and the Abraham's lineage and all that. And same thing. They had been dicks again, and so God like punished them. This is after they came out of Egypt, right? Like, so that whole thing, they were freed from Egypt, and they weren't quite to the promised land yet. They were still on their way. So this is the 40 years, I guess, that they were in the desert trying to get there. They were kind of roaming around, and they were pretty much mostly minding their own business. They had a couple run-ins with people. And when those happened, the other people did not win, because you don't fight. When God topples the Pharaoh and Egypt and everybody in order to free his people and bring them into the promised land, you don't fuck with them. And some people did, and they lost. And so then all the surrounding areas got super scared of the Israelites, of these people. In case in point, we find ourselves with a guy named Balaak, who is the king of Moab. So Balaak, the king of Moab, he looks out and he sees that the Israelites are like camping out nearby where his little kingdom is, and he freaks out. And he's like, no, like, these guys are death and destruction, and they're tearing through. And they weren't even fucking with him. They weren't even bothering. They were just setting up camp, just chilling. And he was losing his shit. So he hears about this other guy named Balaam, who's like a wizard the next town over. And he's like, hey, go get Balaam and bring him down here so he can curse these guys, because I don't like what they're doing. I'm not into it. We're scared of them. So go get Balaam the wizard or whatever guy, and bring him back so he can curse them. So he sends his team of people to go get Balaam. Now, Balaam is not the hero of the story by any means. He is the feature of the story. But even in the New Testament, there's a couple passages about them talking, like throwing shade and talking about like how much of a greedy dick Balaam was. Like so that's pretty big to get some like get thrown shade in the New Testament for shit you did in the book of Numbers. Like, that's like way in the past. I think it's so interesting. So he sends these guys down to go find Balaam. Balaak the king sent these guys. It's very good. Why they had very similar names. So Balaak sends his guys down to Balaam, and they go down to get him. They walk up and they're like, hey, so the Israelites are there and they're camping out, and our king said he'll pay a lot of money if you'll come back and put a curse on them. He's like, whoo, okay. I really want the monies, but I don't know if I can do that. So why don't you stay here and sleep for the night, and I will go ask God if that's okay. And this is what's crazy. He's not like religious. Like, he's not like one of the Israelites, right? He's another dude. But he knows who God is, and he's like afraid of, like, he's not messing with them, right? So he literally like says, he's like, I really want you to pay me that money for my wizard skills, but I have to go check with God first, because I'm not just putting a curse on his people for no reason, because I've seen what he does to people. So it's really kind of cool like that. Anyway, so he goes and does the whole thing where I think he makes like a sacrifice to God. Or maybe he just goes talks. I can't remember. Like, I don't know how they just like, they all have cell phones to God in the Bible. Like, oh, they went and talked to him. Like, okay. Just nonchalant, just passive. Like, oh, so he goes and talks to God. It's kind of, I just had this idea, this mental image. So Balaam, like, think of Balaam as like Jafar from Aladdin, right? It's kind of like the conniving. He's good kind of at what he does, but he's not the hero. Anyway, so Jafar, Balaam, that's the mental image that you can have from here on out. It's like, hey, is it cool with you if I go with these people and let them pay me to put a curse on the Israelites, right? Like, no big deal, right? Is that okay, God? And God's like, hell no, do not go with them, do not curse them, because they are blessed. Like, hashtag blessed. No, I like, he's like, no, absolutely not. You do not go with them. And old Balaam Jafar over here, the next morning, he goes back to like Balak's people, and he's like, God said I can't go with you. Like, I guess I'm grounded. And he's like, I gotta stay here. And they're like, oh, well, we were going to give you money, but whatever. So they go back to the king, Moab, Balaak, and say, God wouldn't let Balaam come out and play. Sorry. He's not out. He's not allowed today. And Balaak, the king, is like, oh, I know what's going on here. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So he tells his team, go back to Balaam, Jafar, the wizard. Tell him I'll give him more money. That's clearly, it's a tactic, right? And so they go back to Balaam and it's like, hey, we will give you more monies. And Balaam's like, y'all, it wasn't the money. I want more money. I was okay with the first amount of money. The money is not the issue. It's God said I couldn't go. But let me go ask him again, right? Maybe he's changed his mind. Let me go. I really want that money. Let me go check it again. So he has him spend the night again. And then he goes and talks to God again. It's funny. Like, it's a fucking douche wizard. And he talks. How does he have access to God so easily? Like, I don't know. But he goes and talks to God again. And then God says, all right, you're back again, huh? You bothering me with this again? All right, you know what? Fine. Go with them. Go with them. But I'm really disappointed in you. Don't do anything without me saying okay. Like, you can go, but you are on a short leash. It's kind of like when you were like a kid, maybe, and like, I don't know if you ever did this, like, you were kind of getting a little bit older, maybe, and you like wanted to go do something with your friends, and your mom or parents didn't really want you to go, but they felt like they were being dicks if they said no. So they give you like that look of like, yeah, you can go, but I don't think that you should. And like with the full expectation of you, like, you're gonna do the right thing and not go, but like you really want to go, and so you go, and then you get flack for it for like 2 weeks afterwards. And I don't know. No, just me. Has that only happened to me? I was the only one that had that type of parenting. But that's what the situation is right now. So God's like, you can go, but don't do anything unless I say that you can do it. And so he gets up and he's like, good news, everybody. I can go with you. God said I was okay. I can go. And so they all like group up and they roll out and they start heading over to King Moab's place. And it's a little bit of a journey. It's the next town over or whatever. They're headed out. And I don't know if they like got like separated or what, but he was just kind of, he saddles up his donkey and he's riding his donkey. And he's there, and he's just moseying along, no big deal. It doesn't really talk about the other people in the party. I don't know if they ran ahead of him or not, but the story just focuses on Balaam riding his donkey. And he's riding his donkey, and it's down like, not quite like a valley, or I don't know, but like, I guess there were like vineyards on both sides and like fences and things. Like you couldn't, so he's on like this road. God, at this point, I guess looks down or something, and he's like, oh no, he didn't. And he gets so mad that Balaam actually went, even though he said it was fine to go. But he just gets like, he's like, I cannot believe that's this guy. And so he sends an angel with a flaming sword to stand in the road and kill him as he walked by. Now, this angel is like roided up, hulked out, badass angel with a flaming sword, and he is invisible to human eyes. So Balaam doesn't even know that he's there, but the donkey can see him. And the donkey's like, I don't fuck with buff dudes with flaming swords. So as they get closer to him, the donkey swerves like off the path. Balaam doesn't know anything's going on. They're just walking down. The donkey jukes the angel. He runs off the road because he has, like, he can't like slide under him or anything like that. So he jukes over to the side and runs off the road. And Balaam doesn't see the angel. So he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you running off the road for no fucking reason? And so he starts beating the donkey. Like, you're a stupid donkey. Like, how would you do that? And the donkey's like, well, I just saved your life, whatever. So they get back on the road and they keep going. And then the angel with the flaming sword like teleports like further down the road. It's getting more narrow with the vineyards on both sides, and like maybe there's like some walls or something at this point. Something where you can't run off the road, right? The hulked out angel is there with the sword in hand, and as they get closer, the donkey tries to again like skirt him to juke him. and like rubs up against the wall on the side to try and get out. Because I don't know why. I guess the angel like was planted and like didn't want to put forth the effort to move. Like it wasn't chasing them, or was it doing? It was just standing there. And if you get too close, then he's gonna swing. So I don't know. But then the donkey like swerves and like goes up against the wall and scrapes up and crushes Balaam's foot because he's like hugging the wall so much. But Balaam doesn't see him, so he loses his shit. And he's like, "What? First you go off the road, and now you crush my foot against the wall, and you scrape my leg, and like, why can't you walk in a straight line? Like, what the hell's wrong with you?" And just beats the donkey again, like just all kinds of pissed. So it's like douchebag Balaam Jafar, like beating his donkey. Like, so then like, the third time, the angel with the flaming sword teleports further down the road again, waiting for him. And I guess at this point, the valley, or I don't know where they were at exactly, but like it was like really narrow. There wasn't an option for the donkey to juke. So the donkey just sits down, just like stops walking and sits down out of nowhere and just lies down the middle of the road. And Balaam still doesn't see the angel or anything, so he just loses his shit. Like, what are you doing? Why are you stopping for no fucking reason? And it just starts beating the donkey for now again a third time. And then it says, the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and the donkey said, paraphrase, "Bro, what did I do to make you beat me these 3 times?" And Balaam, without missing a beat, without even caring that his donkey just talked to him, the donkey just like snapped back to him. He was like, "What did I do?" And Balaam's like, what? And he goes, "You ran off the road, you ran me into a wall, and now you won't even move at all. You make me look like an idiot that can't even ride a donkey. If I had a sword, I would kill you right now." He's just having a full-on fight conversation with this donkey. It doesn't even occur to him that the donkey's talking, and that's weird. But it's just they're just going at it. And then the donkey comes back, and he's like, "Man, like, I'm not. Am I? I think it's like where he's like, am I not your donkey that you ride every day?" And Balaam's like, "Yeah. So what?" And he's like, "How long have I been your donkey?" He's like, Balaam's like, "A long time. You've been my donkey a long time." And he's like, "Have I ever done anything like this before?" And Balaam's like, "Well, no." And at that point, the Lord opened up Balaam's eyes, and he finally saw the buff angel with the flaming sword in the middle of the road, ready to kill them. Like, he's like 10 feet away or 20 feet away, just standing, waiting for them to get too close. And Balaam realizes that he fucked up, and he falls to the ground, and he bows before the angel, and he starts apologizing for being stupid, and like, "I'm so sorry." And then the angel starts talking now. And he says, "Hey, why did you beat your donkey those 3 times? Not cool, bro. The donkey was just trying to save your fucking life. If the donkey hadn't done what he did, I would definitely have killed you and let the donkey live." And Balaam's like, I didn't know. I couldn't see you. I mean, but he's like, you right. I've sinned. God, you mad, bro? I'll go home. I will go home. I will turn around right now. I apologize. I messed up. And then the angel says, he's like, "You know what? I can't even with you right now, but just go on, keep on going down, go down to Moab, but you do exactly what God tells you to do." And Balaam's like, sure, you got it, man, whatever. And he gets back on his donkey, I guess, and they ride out. And I don't know that the donkey talked anymore. I don't know that he didn't. I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know how that works. Like, if God like opens the donkey, quote unquote, opens the donkey's mouth so that he can talk, is that like a one and done deal, or like is that now forever? Like, is that the origin of Shrek's friend donkey? Like, is that like how it all started? And anyway, so that's kind of like, it's not the end of the story by any means, but it's the end of the talking donkey portion of the story and the flaming sword part. So Balaam finally gets down to where Balaak is. Balaak, runs out. Like, "What took you so long? I'm not paying you to like take your time." And Balaam's like, "Bro, listen, it's a long story. I'm not trying to get into it right now. I don't even need to know my donkey was talking, but I'm here. What do you want? What's up?" And Balak's like, well, I mean, you ready to curse these assholes or what? What's going on? You ready for this? And Balaam's like, I'll try, but fair warning, I literally can only say exactly what God wants me to. I can't go beyond that. Like, he didn't go into it, but he's like, the man just saw he had his donkey talk, and he saw like a buff angel with a flaming sword that wanted to kill him, and then yelled at him. And so he's not making a misstep at this point. He's not trying to dig himself deeper. Balak's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, just curse him, it's fine. And he's like, let's go up to this mountain over here where you can see all of them. They do like an altar, and actually I believe it's 7 altars and 7 bulls and 7 rams, I believe is what it is. Like, a lot of animals died for this. No reason. And they do the whole sacrifice, and then Balaam Jafar goes and tries to talk to God. Is like, okay, we're here, made a sacrifice. Is this cool? Can I curse him? And God's like, absolutely not. But here's what you should say. And he kind of gives them like an opposite of a curse, like a blessing. How there's like quotes of like, God is not a human that he would lie. He doesn't change his mind, and he promises to take care of the Israelites or the children of Israel or whatever, and nothing's going to change that. And the last passage, which I love, the people will rise like a lioness, and they'll drink the blood of their victims or something. It's poetic, not literal. That's not okay in Bible terms. But so then Balak gets all, so Balaam says that. He's like, he talks all about like how awesome they're going to be, and they're going to rise like a lioness and drink the blood of their victims and stuff. And Balak, the king, is like, what are you doing? That is the opposite of what I'm paying you for. Come on, man. Balaam's like, I told you I can't go against God. I can't do what he doesn't want me to do. Balaam tries to get like cute and says, hey, you know what? So you can't curse all of them. What if we go over this other mountain where you can only see half of them? Can you curse half of them? Like, is that a loophole we can go? And Balaam's like, maybe. And so they go to this other mountain. They do 7 more altars. They kill 7 more bulls and 7 more goats. And they do the whole thing. And he goes to God. It's like, hey, how about now? Like, we're not cursing all of them, just some of them, right? You didn't say anything about that. And of course, God's like, hell to the no. Like, that's not okay. You can't do this. Like, what are you doing? And it makes him say this other, like, basically blessing again, more about being like a lion and drinking blood of victims and stuff. And like, so Balak, the king of Moab, loses his shit again. He's like, come on, Balaam Jafar, what are you doing? And he's just like, Balaam's just like shrugging, like, I can't, man. So they go to a third mountain, and they try it again. I don't know what like Balak thought was going to change at this point, but Balaam really wanted that money, so he's like, he will kill as many bulls and goats as he needs to try and get a chance. And so they're at the third mountain, and they do 7 more altars, 7 more bulls, 7 more rams, all killed, and they do a sacrifice. And Balaam's like, you know what? I'm not going to use magic this time to talk to God. I'm just going to go do what I want to do. And he tries to get cute and just like say a curse all by himself without letting God know. God is like, no, that's not how we do things around here. And so God takes over his body and like possesses him in a godly way or whatever. Like, and I'm just imagining like his eyes are glowing and maybe there's electricity everywhere. I don't know what happens when God possesses you or whatever, but like God like takes over him, and Balaam goes on about this whole thing. He's like starts shouting, lightning eyes and stuff. Like goes on like, how beautiful are your tents, Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. God brought them out of Egypt. They have the strength of a wild ox. They devour hostile nations and break their bones in pieces. With their arrows they pierce them. Like a lion they crouch and lie down. Like a lioness, who dared to rouse them? May those who bless you be blessed, and those who curse you be cursed. So he shouts that out, God taking over Balaam. And Balak, the king of Moab, loses his shit. And he's like, what are you doing? Wow, like, I'm paying you to curse them 3 times now. You gave them blessings. And now, like, you just put a big, like protection spell on them that if I try it again, like, I'm gonna get a bounce back. Like, it's in Harry Potter, right? Where you, like if you have a protection spell, like, and you try to curse them, like, the curse, like, bounces back or something. Anyway, that's it. He's like, I can't do anything. I can't curse him anymore. He's like, you know what? You're not getting any money. Fuck off. Go home. I'm sorry that I even talked to you. Like, get lost. And Balaam, Jafar guy, just, like, shrugs and is like, I tried. I tried. I don't know what you want. And so he goes home. I think there's one other thing. Oh, yeah. So then he's like, oh, one more thing as he's leaving. I don't know if this was, like, one last little bit of God controlling him. He says, he just drops, a star will come out of Jacob, which is the lineage. A scepter will rise out of Israel. He will crush the foreheads of Moab, the skulls of all the people of Sheth. And then he, like, just drops mic and then goes home. That's it for now. That's the story of Balaam and the donkey, the king of Moab, who tried to curse Israel, and it backfired. I think there's a little bit in the story-wise, I believe. Then later, the Israelites and the Moabs actually fight or go head-to-head, and it does not go well for them at all. So it's a very, like, a prophetic, Israelites will crush the foreheads of Moab and the skulls of the people of Sheth. Very metal, I think, very. So that's what's cool. Sometimes in the Bible, just things get metal, man. Drinking the blood of your enemies and crushing skulls and foreheads. It's cool stuff in there. This is the stuff that people don't talk about enough in church, I think. Anyway, so we had talking donkeys. We've got animal sacrifices. We had angels with flaming swords. Just a whole animal cruelty, which isn't a selling point, but it's got everything. We got everything in the story here. And again, Balaam is not the hero. The only good thing he did was when God took over his body and said blessing. So don't look up to Balaam, but it's a fun story. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something, and I had fun drinking and talking. So again, thank you for listening, and hope you have a fantastic day. Cheers.